Okay, so the last thing we are going to see regarding the present perfect is the comparison between this tense and the past simple. Both tenses, both of them express the idea of an action that happened in the past, but there are important differences between them. Okay, so that's what we are going to see now. So the first difference between the present perfect and the past simple is that the present perfect expresses an action that started in the past, but as the name of this tense implies, present perfect, it still continues. It is still happening in the present. Okay. However, if we use the past simple, we are talking about finished actions in the past. That action happened and it is no longer happening now. Okay? So, for example, we can have this sentence: I have had my cat for 2 years. That means that 2 years ago, that cat came to my house and I still have that cat. Okay? So now in the present, I have that cat. However, I use the past simple to express an idea like I had my cat for 2 years. That means that I had it for 2 years, but it is no longer here. Okay, so I have had my cat implies that I still have it. I had my cat implies I don't have it any longer. Okay, so that is an action that was finished in the past. The second difference between these two tenses is expressed by the idea that a present perfect implies an action that was performed at some point in the past, once, twice, or several times, but we don't specify when that happened. I mentioned this like 3 videos ago, I can't remember now, but I told you that please never use a specific moment of time when you are using the present perfect because we don't know when that action took place. Okay? However, if we use the past simple, we are really speaking about actions in a specific moment of the past. We specify when that action happened. So, for example, I have already seen The Hunger Games Mockingjay 2. Okay, I say that I saw this film. I don't mention when, so I use the present perfect. That action happened in the past, but I don't mention when. I use the present perfect. However, if I mention when I performed that action, when that action took place, like for example, last weekend, I use the past simple. I saw it last weekend. Okay? So, present perfect doesn't specify when, past simple specifies when that action occurred. And the last difference between these two tenses is that the present perfect expresses an action that started in the past, that took place in the past, but the period of time when that action happened hasn't finished. So we can say time expressions that implies the moment we are living. For example, this week, this year, today. So that action happened at some point this week, this year, or today. I don't specify when, and that time hasn't finished. I'm still in this week, I'm still in this year, I'm still today. Okay, however, if we use the past simple, those actions that we mention, those actions that we speak about, are happening in a finished period of time. So we don't belong to that period of time. For example, yesterday, last week, last year, in 2000. So we no longer live at that point in time. So that's the difference between them. For example, I have read 2 books this week. So this action has happened this week. I'm still living in this week. But when I turn to the past simple, I read 3 books last week. I say that that time last week is a time where I don't belong to. Okay? So, period of time that still goes on this week, present perfect. Finished period of time last week, past perfect. And this is it. If you have any questions or any doubts, please remember to tell me, ask me as soon as possible. Bye bye.